Kyle, big Kyle. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to two people real quick. I'm gonna start with Kyle because he's an alumni, and one thing, and we've been going back and forth with this as staff with the alumni is like they paid their dues. Some of them have been here a year and a half. At least they've been here a year. Actually, Spencer, we have another alumni on here, so it's interesting when we reach back out to alumni and they don't want to leave the container. Um, and then they pick and choose where they want to participate. But I just want to honor the alumni that are really digging into a lot of the changes that we made, but also like again, they have every right to just kind of come and go. They've earned that right, and so I appreciate you doing the tough stuff, Kyle and Spencer showing up. So
For sure.
um, I also want to honor Ed because if I had to pick the most consistent person, it's this giant battle between Drew and Ed. Um, but yeah, I saw Ed on here first. I don't know. I see Drew's autopilot thing, so I can't give him much of credit yet. But yeah, Ed, man, you've been crushing it with like the maps. Like you've literally done more work than anybody. You're giving Diesel Dave a run for his money. But as far as new guys, like really being consistent, yourself and Drew are seem to be battling it out there. But yeah, let's go around real quick because we do have a little bit of a smaller attendance, which is fine. It'll give us a second just to share any wins. Anybody want to start? I'll take a volunteers first, and then I'll go bananas in pajamas. Anybody have any cool wins last couple days? Weekend maybe?
I'll start. Getting along great with the wife. Things are going really good, so that's a positive win for me. We battle back and forth, but getting back in the program, I think has squared me up on things that I need to improve on and things that I've forgot when I was in the program before. I was using all those tools and I stopped using them. So we're back on track. So that's a huge win for me.
Yeah, and it happens, and I love that you could share that because it's very common, and that's why we try to come up with the alumni thing where it's like super inexpensive of essentially 1/10 of what you paid. So we'd rather you stay in here, because you are a shining example of what's possible when you hang out for a year, but also like when we don't use the tools constantly, we don't keep them sharp. We forget how to use them. They're out of sight, out of mind. They get a little rusty. But you start to fall back into these comfortable habits, and they don't all serve you. That's why we came to get reprogrammed. So I absolutely love that, brother. I'm hoping you've seen some of the changes, and I'm hoping you have the stack like right there on your phone now instead of how we used to do it. We had to go dig up a PDF and pencil it out. So we're trying to make it where in the heat of the moment you could. I've been to your beautiful home. You could go disappear to your badass additional house in the back, your man cave of all man caves. Are you in it right now? You are.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is not his house, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fucking ridiculous. Anytime I go to California, I'm sleeping in their house. But yeah, you can run back there and stack it out real quick in the palm of your hand, and then go back and face the music. So,
For sure.
Anybody else have a major win or a win? Does that have to be major? Go ahead, Spencer.
Yeah, my win was, I shared it in the chat last night, but I haven't been big at stacking, and I should be, but I'm not one to get mad. Like I rarely get angry and whatnot, but last night, my wife made me seriously angry. Like I was like, I don't even want to be a part of the business with you anymore. Like burn it to the ground, pissed off, walked out, got in my car, started driving, and was thinking just all this rage. And I was driving to In-N-Out, and I was like, oh shit, I got to do a stack. So I pulled over at In-N-Out. I did the stack, grabbed my food, drove home, and was able to walk in like super calm, have a conversation, apologize for acting like a child, and have the conversation we needed to have without the emotion. So it was incredible. It's great.
It's really, it is crazy to see how your mood can just go. And I've never seen you lose your shit ever. I've never seen you raise your voice. Yeah, I've known you for a while.
Doesn't happen.
Must have been quite the combo. But to come back and handle it the way we all agree it should be handled. I love that pattern interrupt. So you got a stack and a snack, and and you came back and attacked. And I'm done. I'm just trying to mad rhyme for you guys. So just so you know, I don't ever do any drugs ever on the planet. I don't believe in them, but I'm on like crazy Sudafed right now. So I think that's why I'm acting like a fucking weirdo in the chat too. I have like this crazy, I don't know. I don't get sick like ever. And my wife, I'll share my win. My wife bought 4-day passes to the CMA Fest, and it was their 50th anniversary. So you name a country artist, like we saw them. And my in-laws are in town. So that was literally 4 days in a row of like getting home at almost 2 a.m., which is about 4 hours past my 10 o'clock bedtime. So I think just the combination of the wear and tear on my body combined with I ran an event on Saturday out here, and then just maybe it's the Canadian wildfires that are stirring stuff up my throat, my sinuses. I can't even function. So I tried to fight it like a grown man, and then succumbed this morning to some Sudafed, and now I'm just loopy. So maybe this is what, if you ever want to see Nick semi-drunk, this is probably what it looks like, guys. So anybody else? And the other big one I have, I'm really, really proud of my son. I hope he sees this. I'll make sure he sees it, and I'm telling him. Hudson helped me create like a workout program for him. It was on if you guys saw my circuit map maybe 2 weeks ago. And I put it in front of him. He wasn't really responsive to it. And then I tried different ways to present the data to him in a way that would be easy and palatable. And since then, since summer, he's on this 60-day program because that's all he has for summer. Every morning he gets up and goes to soccer practice on his own because it's summer, so they're practicing early. As soon as he gets back from practice, he takes down a big meal and a shake, and he goes right back and drives to the gym, and he has not missed a day. And it's just been cool because I haven't even been going with him. He just does it on his own. So like, I had all these stories that you can't be a prophet in your own land. And it took, just really giving him like a detailed roadmap and making it like simple, stupid. And he's been super committed. So that's a big win for me as a dad, to see my son like committed to a workout program without me having to like hover over him, I guess, So that's my win. Anybody else got a win?
Yeah, I'll go.
Let's go, prison.
Yeah. Hey, yes, that's right. I got out of jail yesterday.
Okay.
But I think I mentioned it on the chat earlier. Basically, realizing where I'm at with the business, not really happy with it, and just sitting with it and realizing, hey, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was with money management, with sales, and realize just coming, just the reality, sort of the stack thing, and been listening to on that book about that you formed around the stack, and just kind of just sitting with it, just realizing, okay, this is where I'm at, so let's go do something about it. And so I'm now working on doing something about it. So just having that and being calm about it, not pissed off, not depressed, just it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's what you're describing is a very powerful revelation that 99% of men can't come to, especially like ego based. And in a group like we're all a bunch of guys, we're high performers. That's how we got here. And to be able to sit in the facts and not be judgmental of yourself, not beat yourself up, like, man, because I'll say this out loud a lot too. I'm not the best at managing funds. Until I put my wife in charge of our money, we never really had anything, because I'll burn it, build it, and have fun with it. But it took me a long time to get there. And to your point, I still beat myself up a bit. And so you can't get better at something if you don't admit that you're not great at it. And that's like the hardest thing in the world, as grown-ass men, especially that are already kind of elite, maybe in the other circles that we run in. So I love that you're able to share that, because that's the massive first step to like starting to crush. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've seen some of those drops in the chat. I love that. Anybody else have a win? And otherwise we'll dive right into it. And again, I pardon my sniffly nose and my crazy voice. I'm like Sudafed out. Anybody?
Real quick. Got a text from my wife this morning when I was at work. She said, "The girls and I are so incredibly blessed to have you. Thank you for leading our family so well. I love you."
Yeah.
Like that little text. Yeah. It was proof that what we're doing is working. So
paid in full, baby.
come on.
Dude, that's massive, bro. It is. It's like, it's crazy because as guys, we don't want to admit it, but sometimes that's all we need to hear. And that you could ride that text message for the next quarter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it gave me fresh life. So
yeah.
it hit hard, man.
Yeah. Dude, I absolutely love that. I love it. I think Hudson was trying to lean in, then Chase. So whoever wants to go first.
Yeah. I've been a little bit more quiet over the past 2 weeks as I've been trying to make a push to get my house ready for sale, and made an extremely hard push over the past probably like 72 hours of just like morning up, sunrise, sunrise and sunset, whatever the thing is, of working on my house, painting, fixing things up, and just getting it all ready for sale. And we finally left town yesterday with the house cleaners in our house, wrapping up the cleaning aspect of it. And they're in there taking photos right now as we speak, and it's ready to hit market tomorrow. So super fucking pumped to have that behind me. And just all the work that went into that. It's just tons of stress over the past few weeks, and just glad to sit down and just chill for a moment.
Yeah, I love that. And shout out to Drew for getting you well positioned for the next move. So when that thing sells on Saturday, when you do your open house and get multiple offers, then you
Yeah.
get your ass out here on Monday, hang out at my house, and we go shopping and get you something right next to me. That's the plan. I love it. Chase, where you at?
So my win's a little different. But my wife and I had like a very big conflict last night, like huge. Like I slept at the office. Like big deal. But I maintained integrity with myself. I maintained integrity to my mission and vision for what I want. And like I feel very free. Like detached from like how she receives it, what goes on, what happens next. Like it's a very powerful place to be. And I don't mean that from a place of like, oh, like she sucks and like whatever. Like, no, I just mean from a place of like being a man, like, and kind of reclaiming parts of yourself.
I mean, we talked for 2 hours last night, so I'm obviously privy to the details, and I know how you held yourself because we talked about that. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud that you chose to sleep at the office, and I hate to say stand your ground, but like you said, stay in your integrity of what needed to be done. So
that was a big decision for me because when I said I'm gonna sleep at the office, she started crying and like, no, please stay. And like if I always do what I've always done and rescue her from these moments, I'm going to continue to get what I've always gotten, which is leftovers.
oof.
And like I've held the container of the marriage 100% of the effort, 100% of the time for about 3 years now, stacking its death, stacking it to death, giving up parts of myself, parts of my pride that like, you know, doing the work. And I don't have any regrets about that stuff, but to reclaim like, hey, I'm good, even if you're not. And even if you, and for those of you who don't know, my wife's talked about opting out of my relationship for a little while. It's been dropping D-bombs, then going back and forth and this, that, and the other. And like, yeah, like I've been like, oh, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? What do I got to do? And I've made actually the more I do, the less I get credit for. Like the more deposits, the more trips to Cabo, the more date nights, the more this, like the frame is completely flipped where most relationships you're investing into a cup that she's investing in. I've realized I've made myself the cup. And it's severely enhanced my experience of myself. It severely impacted my experience of myself. Made me question. And like, it feels good to be in a place where I'm free.
Chase, I love you, buddy. I appreciate the share, man. I'm going through No More Mr. Nice Guy right now, and that definitely like hits. Like, I know a lot of you guys have read that book. If you guys haven't read that book, you definitely need to. But you know, from reading that book too alone, like I know what it takes to be able to overcome that and actually be able to stand your ground, stay in your integrity, man. So just want to say I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you, brother.
And then most of you know my favorite 3-word phrase that you're watching Chase do, which is going to force her to do, is show up different. And so if he keeps showing up the same, he keeps getting same result. And so he chose last night to show up different, which forced her to show up different, and will continue to force her to show up different until it works itself out naturally. And not being married to like an outcome that you desired, and just experiencing what you're going through is one of the best things you can do. And but you know, obviously, well, we can all sit here and expound upon that for hours, but to go through it is completely different. So I'm proud of you as well, man. We'll chat after this, I know. Nicky South is always eating, but can't seem to gain a pound. So that's interesting. He just got here. He put 2 cameras on. I don't know if that does that help you or what. Why do you always on 2 cameras?
I was sitting in. Oh yeah, no, I keep. I was on my computer, then I came in to eat my fucking food real quick.
Cool,
I put
bro.
on this one, and then I'm gonna jump off and go back on that one.
Whichever one makes you look bigger. Is that the one you choose? That camera for
That's
that?
why I go sit in that one, because I can lean back and flex a little bit like this.
There it is. There it is. That guy behind you just flexed on you. It was interesting. All right. I just want to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to show you guys an extremely powerful framework Some of it is mine, and some of it's just bits and pieces I've taken from people over the years. For those of you that have a team, and there's quite a few of you on here, I encourage you to walk through this with us on this call, but 100% like, so John S. for sure. Drew, I think you have a team. Ed for sure. Diesel Dave for sure. Kyle and Walter, like Kyle, you need to take this and maybe run it with Walter. And then it's very interesting to see when you run it with your team, what you get for feedback. Spencer, you and the wife, but also you guys have people that in admin positions that should probably be a part of this. Nick South, you can share it with your chicken breast and see how that fucking goes. But let me show the screen. Let's dive into this real quick. Oh, there's Christian. Christian always disappears on me too. Christian doesn't ever use a microphone. He just types in my chat and drives me fucking nuts because there's one more thing I got to keep up with on these calls. All right, hold on. You know me and my canvas. All right, can you guys see my screen? Thumbs up. Cool. All right. You can write this down as usual. There's going to be a recording, and of course, I'll drop the actual slides. There's only 7 or 8 slides, so bear with me on this. How big are we? How many people? I'm wondering if we should do breakout rooms for this because I want to take some time on a few of the questions, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lucy, if you can hear me, can you put together 3 breakout rooms, please, as I start this off, and just text me or something when they're ready. Okay, so it's called P6. Pretty simple. One framework to provide ultra clarity and continuity across your marketing, sales, and fulfillment. If you saw in the chat, I call this suck, squeeze, bang. I have that concept around an internal combustion engine and how it literally describes your whole business, called suck, squeeze, bang, and blow. Suck is marketing. Squeezing is, converting that marketing message to an actual sale. And then you have to deliver or fulfill against that sale. That's the combustion of the engine. That's the fulfillment. So this is, what's funny about this is my team and I about 6-7 months ago went through this exercise with this really expensive marketing guru, and he exposed some things about our container, about the program, but it was very powerful. And that's why I really want you guys to go back and do this with your group, but also let's walk through and see how far we can get on it today. Cool. All right. Press buttons here. There it is. All right. So this is it in a nutshell. And then we're going to go through each one. So it's called P6 for a reason. There's 6 Ps. This literally will help you get clear on your entire effing reason for starting whatever business you started. Simple as problem, pain, possibility, and we're going to keep coming back to these, so don't worry if you don't write them all down. Path, promise, and then your pitch. Pretty simple. That's the flow in that order. So first one is problem, right? Let me ask you guys this. Lucy, let me know if these breakout rooms are ready. Let me check my text, or if you can give me some sort of sweet signal. We're going to jump into breakout rooms in about 2 seconds, and you guys are all going to have a minute or so to try to articulate. You should be able to articulate this. If you guys have been in business for a year or 2 or more, and again, this is where we got kind of exposed as even the program was like, I had an idea of what problem we solved, and my team had an idea, and then we started liking each other's stuff, and we couldn't really put it into one bottle in one cozy sentence. And so all right, the room's ready. All that to say, the less clear you are on this, then the less clear you are on who you're helping, you know what I mean, and what you're helping them with. So we're going to go into breakout rooms. I will make a quick caveat on this. The next question is going to be the pain point. So my coaches who are helping facilitate these rooms, oftentimes when I ask what problem do you solve, you go straight into the person's pain. It's different, but it's a fine line. So there's a problem you're solving, and then that customer also has pain associated with that problem. So stay in the world of problem. We're going to just do a breakout room real quick. And I want you to try to articulate in 1 or 2 sentences. And if you struggle, that's fine. What problem do you actually solve in the marketplace? 3, 2, 1, Lucy, let's off you go with them.
Do you hear the drill going?
Uh-uh.
Okay, cool.
What up, Drew?
What's happening?
Let's so we can move pretty quickly. Let's just take maybe one share. Was anybody struggling to figure out what problem they solve, or everyone's very articulate and aced it, or what? Chase, your group, yeah.
So I had a question because I've been through this exercise before, so I have a little more context. It was a lot easier than I remember. right? So the reason why I bring that up is because I'm
Yeah.
not, we really isolated the problem at the level that's required for the full benefit of this exercise. Like, so for me, for Drew, like the problem he solves is money, right? Helps people get a home. Is that deep enough? Have we accurately looked at the problem? Like with Christian, problem he solves is confidence. With me, it's connection. With Brandon, it's like people don't have enough options. I solve the problem of options, right? So are we looking at this right, or are we oversimplifying and missing the point?
I think for the sake of today, so because we're asking for 1 minute like bangers, I think that's a good start. But I think as you drill down, so like let's just stay on Drew, for example. I wouldn't just stay in the lane of people need money to buy a home. I think it's to your point. If we move over to Brandon with options, it's like people don't know enough about. People have a trust issue. People don't understand what they qualify. Like, you know what I mean? So like there's several problems associated with home buying. And you do want to isolate one, but I mean, yeah, the binary black and white of it is people need to get money to get a house. You know what I mean? But I think as you go deeper into that, because what this exercise will do is you start to like get a little deeper into the problem you solve, is it really allows you to back out the rest and start to separate yourself from the crowd. And another thing this really does, the reason it solves both the sales, marketing, and fulfillment, to your point, and this would be for Drew or Brandon or anybody, you can now start to create different campaigns and split test. If you push this problem out to the market, how many people identify with that problem or that pain point as we get to the next part of this exercise? And then run another one that offers similar solutions and gets people in front of you, but you're touching on a completely different problem or pain point. And that's the one that really hits home for them. So like for us with the program, we do a lot of things. And so like we would have to create separate sets of copy and separate ad campaigns specific to different problems that we solve. So
this
shit
isn't
answer,
necessarily a problem with the industry overall. It could be an opportunity, right? Problems create opportunities, but a specific problem that we're like, hey, we could fill that niche.
Yeah. And what'll be interesting is you might find if you ran 3 different ad sets that address 3 different common problems in your area, this one really hits home, especially maybe to your demographic or your avatar. And it's like, okay, let's double down on this one and get people in the door, and then we'll show them these other services. But this problem really, really resonates with people, and we were leaning heavy on this other problem we thought we solved. So getting creative with this is how you can again apply this to a few different buckets, you know. And then once you've isolated the problem, and now we're gonna move on to pain point associated with that problem, it completely changes the way you deliver or what you deliver, etc. So that being said, or does anybody else actually want to share? Did anybody else have a really difficult time? Like Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, so in our group we had Spencer, Dave, and John S. And Dave had a really simple problem. We fix broken trucks. So when you have a broken truck, that's the problem that he fixes. And we also went ahead and did the pain point associated with it. And the pain point was you could have potentially unhappy customers if your truck's broken. You could have a loss of revenue, high expenses. And so those are the pain points associated with the problem that he fixes. But he only had one singular, and then Spencer and John both had 2 separate pain points that they fixed. One was anti-aging, and the other one was lack of confidence in yourself for Spencer. And then John fixed the problem of unhappiness and powerlessness. And so then they immediately kind of both jumped to the solution of what they do and how they solve it. But we jumped ahead into the pain and the problem, and they are very similar.
They're very closely connected. It's just trying to delineate your messaging on this is a problem that you have. I'm making you hyper aware. I'm just bringing it to your PFC, your prefrontal cortex, right? Problem. Did you know? And then it makes them resonate with the pain associated with having that problem. So like, it's up to you guys. Do we want to do a breakout room for pain, or do you want to move on to another one? Because like, it sounds like people are starting to connect pain to problem, but also I want to make sure we're able to delineate. So as we craft a message around this, like,
I think we need to do a breakout room for pain.
Yeah, I think we're going to keep them shorter though, for the sake of time. So like, again, this is going to be kind of like speed dating. So I can get you through P6, and then, I'm going to create a way for you to go back to this. But also, again, I think you should 100% whiteboard this with your teams. Clear?
Clear.
All right. So those of you that jumped ahead, fuck off, but dive deeper. And then those of you that haven't done it, we're going to jump in the same breakout rooms, 1 minute each. And then there will be a 1 minute window. So if you go over a little bit, so 5 minutes total for 4 human beings. 3, 2, 1, off you go. Pain.
And regardless, like things are gonna happen how they're supposed to happen, so.
I know. Everyone abusing their minute or not coming back?
3 seconds
Oh, okay.
there.
All right, how we doing that? Was there anybody able to delineate the pain from the problem, like clearly? No, anybody have like an issue they want to go over with, Chase? Or anybody have feedback? Yeah. Okay, I'll call on somebody. John, John S, because John H isn't on. What's your problem versus your pain?
Problem is people are unhappy and feel powerless. The pain associated with that is feeling weak, tired, lack of confidence, lonely. And then to like kind of use an example and really pinpoint who the avatar who's feeling that way. It's a woman not feeling sexy anymore, not feeling like she's enough for her husband, and she doesn't have the energy and wherewithal to keep up with her kids. So she's just fatigued, exhausted, and doesn't feel seen from her family.
So then my next question would be, are you ratcheting up, with integrity, that pain point in your marketing message? Like, you know what I mean? How can you use, because the thing is, we don't ever want to market to their problem. We actually want to market, the reason we make this delineation, we want to market to the pain that their problem is causing them. So we make them aware of the problem, but then we stay in pain land as much as possible. Because that's something they can actually relate to, like on an emotional level. You know what I mean? You have to get an emotional buy-in before you can pitch. So like what I'm trying to hammer home here, this is for anybody, Kyle too, like let's just jump over to Kyle real quick, because yours is a little more difficult, right? Is what's the pain associated with what you do?
I put it's more detailed towards our service work of power going out in a building type of a situation, like a commercial building, loss of revenue for that company before we were able to send out a tech to that site.
Okay. So this is specific to your on-call services. So not like a build out, right?
Correct.
So you're gonna have different ones because you serve different verticals. So there's a pain point for a new build too. If it's shoddy work, if it has to be redone, which can also cost them, tons of revenue, which could cause power outages, which could cause more money to have a service tech come out. So like, I know you do an initial build outs, like tenant improvement TIs on massive commercial buildings. So like, again, this will be interesting when you're speaking to the people that are doing the hard work. Cause I know you and Walter are up here now and seeing what they feel the pain, what's the real pain of the customer? Cause the more you can talk about that. So for example, the way this will help you, Kyle, is like, maybe you're not the cheapest bid. I know you have to outbid all these people, but if you're the best and you could touch on the pain point that all the times you guys have tried to like cut corners and take the cheapest bid, it's bit you in the ass and cost you more money, et cetera. Right. So it allows you to kind of create a marketing message that maybe will change the way you deliver your price point, your pitch. And it's all going to tie together when we get to pitch. You see what I'm saying? Because right now I know the name. Every time I talk to you, it's like, well, we have to come in like the lowest usually. Right. Everyone's looking for 75 bids. Who's the lowest bid? I'm grabbing it, and that's like, what if we change that narrative?
Yeah. What makes us different than everybody else?
It can't be we're the best, most affordable. I hate to say the word cheapest. I mean, that can't be the game.
Sure.
Doesn't serve anybody,
Nick, can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just in the past couple of weeks, we switched our whole client intake process. Before, I'd invite them in for a free workout, and I would just try to deliver the best workout ever. And then after, I'd be like, all right, you're in, right? And I had no idea why they were coming in. I had no idea what the pain point was. And I literally just kicked their teeth in this CrossFit workout, and they're like, I'm never coming back. But I think this is fun. And then realize we're now having them come in 30 minutes before class. They sit down one-on-one with the coach, and we find out why are they coming to us and why today. And really it's trying to delineate and pinpoint that pain point. And then throughout the workout, we kind of keep tying it back like, hey, remember, this is your goal. This will get you there. And at the end of the workout, it's been like an 85% close because everybody, we can say, hey, this is the program. You see how this is going to get you there. This is going to solve this problem for you. So holding on to that pain point is really,
are these one-on-one workouts or one-to-many?
One-to-many.
Okay. I was just thinking if you were doing one-to-ones, you could really craft a personal experience, around their pain point in terms of like a custom workout that kind of either targets that area or targets that mental thing they really want to fix, right? Because no one really just wants to look jacked. there's all the emotions associated with getting, you know, back into their little black dress or whatever. It's there's so much more than the physical aspect of what you do, you know?
Yeah, what they look like is a side effect. That's
Yeah.
not actually what we're solving.
100%. I love that. Anybody else have anything before we move on? Cool. So the next one is possibility. So this is your chance now. You know Miss Jones or Mr. Jones's pain, right? Associated with their problem. Now, what other possibility exists for your client? So this is your chance to say, look, this is what you're going through. This is the pain associated with what you're going through. But this is what's possible for you, right? Like, this is what's possible. You can fix this. You can have this. You can, you know, you're just painting the possibility, by the way. Do not get into your deliverables. That's the next step. And even then, we're not going to go too deep into them. And I'll tell you why. So another quick breakout room, 1 minute each on the clock. What possibility? This is your painting. You're painting a possibility. You're painting the most beautiful end result for your client to get them interested in like another way to do things. Clear? 3, 2, 1, off we go, Lucy. Yep. What up, Diesel Dave?
Right after I muted myself. Oh, not much, man. Plugging away.
I know you have a 6-foot whiteboard in your office that you can do this exercise with your staff.
Yeah, we can.
All right, so we just went into possible. So did anybody have a hard time like painting that image for a potential new client? Like, hey, here's what's possible. You know what I mean? Everyone had a really easy time and articulated it like absolute geniuses.
I think our group did fairly well with it. One thing that we kind of pointed out is how can we turn it into going back into this is an investment, it's not an expense, and then going back into how can they actually see a return off of it. So maybe that's not tomorrow or the next day, but can they see a return off of the investment that they're making later down the road? If we can make those two and blow those things up big enough, then it almost becomes a no-brainer to pay whatever that price is because you've blown it up bigger than the price point.
Yeah, I think the way where I would incorporate that if I was creating a flow, which I actually build sales scripts off of P6, is it under promise. And so that's like your opportunity to kind of like further paint the picture of what's possible and then attach a really heavy promise to it. Obviously a conditional guarantee or conditional promise based on them doing what they say they're going to do. You know, so like for us, I can't promise an ROI if you don't show up and do the work, right? So it's a conditional promise, but allows you to get a little more granular and towards like ROI land, if that's what you're, to anchor that home. So, all right. So we went through problem, we delineated, we figured out what the pain is. I want you guys to stay in pain land as you start to craft your message. If you choose to use a marketing script around this, and I can help you with that. Once we've gotten them really stuck in their pit and like their pain, we say, look, that sucks, but here's what's possible for you. Here's an outcome maybe you never thought of, or maybe you just never thought you could achieve, right? And then path is, I'm going to walk alongside you. My company is, we're going to provide a service. We're going to provide a product. Like the path is where you get, this is a tough one for us, and myself included. I'm talking myself. This is where you're allowed to kind of like skim over the deliverables, but don't go too crazy here because you're not selling. Let's put it this way. You're not selling the private jet on its way to the Bahamas. You're selling the Bahamas. You're selling the island. You're selling the finished product. You're selling the destination. You're selling the possibility. And sometimes we get stuck on the path because we're very proud of what we've built. Again, I'm yelling at myself in the mirror right now. Here's what it looks like, bro. You get these calls and you get this thing and you get these one-on-ones and then you talk to me and then I help you do this and we whiteboard and then I fucking crush your goals. Like that's me just obsessing about all the stuff I've built in the form of the path that I've helped create, but you don't want to spend a lot of time here. Am I beating this up? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So you do have your logical buyers, men especially are logical buyers. So at some point during your entire pre-zo, one more P, you have to get into like how on earth you're actually going to get them to this new possibility that you've just shown them. So pretty simple, but it'll be interesting how many of you guys spend too much time in here like I just did. But yeah, I want you guys to do 1 minute on trying to explain to your customer what the path looks like to this new possibility that you just painted. I'm spitting all over my mic with all these P's. 3, 2, 1. all those things. Send them off, Lucy. Send them off. All right, how'd we do?
Great.
We could use a little bit of clarity with Brandon. Brandon sells multiple products, but they're all kind of like, it's like they're all gifts, but they're all kind of a little bit different. My suggestion was like, hey, let's pick one gift and go through. But because he's trying to solve the problem for all the gifts and paying for all the gifts and the possibility for all the gifts, as we're getting to the path that's starting to get like
Yeah.
a little jumbled on like, okay, what is the path? Like add to cart, whatever. So yeah, I think he'll need some support on that. And just so you know, I actually have someone scheduled on my calendar for this next breakout. I'm not going to be able to make. So my guys will need to be in a different breakout room more than likely. So we had a couple people I had to drop off.
No, just assign a leader for it. Someone can lead. We only got 2 left.
Christian dripped off, so
And Dave and Spencer had to leave also. So my group
Yeah.
got short.
I got to dip out right now too. I've got a meeting.
All right, we're losing
now.
everybody. We're right at the hour mark.
I'm-
All right, you
I'm sorry, but I am fucking demo
fuck
schedule.
all of you. How about that? Another P. It's called. I don't even know. It's
Piss off.
PHUCK. All right. So path, obviously add to cart is a pretty laughable one. That's pretty path. But see, one thing that you can get creative with is starting to create a unique experience for them. And so is there a different way you can deliver your product? Is there, is there a way across all of these to start to separate yourself, within reason? If you create like a personal delivery of your package with a song and dance and a bow tie, obviously that doesn't make sense. But if there's a way to start to ask yourself, how can you separate yourself from the rest of these clowns across all P's? But start with just getting crystal clear on what exactly you are delivering. So Pat, did anybody get caught in the weeds here besides almost too easy on add to cart and get the heck out of here? Add to cart and press purchase? Nothing?
Oh, it was pretty easy. It was just like we broke it down in our group. Like the path is this: if you follow these steps, then this is what you will get, which is your promise, and you can have all that for this price, which is your pitch. And how that's how we kind of broke it
Luke's
down.
group keeps doing 2 or 3 steps ahead, which I guess makes sense because we're at the hour mark now. But yeah, you guys tell me, do you want to do a breakout room for promise? I do want to say one thing on promise though. This comes from like Hormozi's $100 million offer. Everybody on this call, everybody in this group should have some sort of conditional promise or conditional guarantee associated with their product or service. Because human beings just love that shit. And at the end of the day, it's kind of putting your balls on the line, but if you make it conditional, which it should always be anyway, they have to do X to see the work. And if you truly believe in what you're putting in the marketplace, if they're doing X, then your product or service should be delivering, right? If they do their part, you should always be doing yours. So like, is anybody operating right now with some form of conditional guarantee or promise to their customer? I know Hudson does because he lives in the school of we're crazy. So then ask yourself real quick, and we won't get into pitch today because you guys don't need to craft a pitch right in front of me. Let's just finish with promise. But the fact that only one of you raised your hands and it's Hudson, I do want you guys to just real quick. We don't even have to do a breakout room for this, Lucy, because there's not many left because of the hour mark. Who here wants to attempt to formulate? You don't have to be married to it. Some version of a money back guarantee or a results guarantee, or again, these are all conditioned on them doing the work. Anybody even thought about this before? For like John S., you should be doing this all day. You know what I mean? Because realistically, you can always harken back to the fact that they didn't do something because I know you believe in what you do. And if they do the work, and it's not just showing up and doing the workout, if they're not eating correctly, if they're not consistent, if they're going through the motions and not pushing themselves and trying to PR every week or whatever something, you create a standard, then there won't be any expectation. And the craziest thing about this, by the way, is most people do internalize this. They know if they haven't done the work. So you're not going to get 3 people trying to get their money back because you did this, but you are going to get more people to sign up for your product or service because you did this. That's the mindset here.
Yeah, the hard thing with what I do, with probably a lot of us do, is there's so much work they have to put in on their end outside of, they're coming to my center for an hour, but if they're not right, I mean, I give them a meal plan, but if they're not following it, I can't make any promises.
Sure.
Well, but this is where you could jump in though, and you could say, if you follow our path of this X, Y, and Z, daily workouts, customized meal plan, and community engagement. If you follow those things of X, Y, and Z, then we guarantee that your husband or boyfriend or partner or whatever is going to compliment the way you look within the first 60 days. If not, right? Which I mean, it's something that's,
Yeah. So
you know,
like,
but the if then,
to touch on Luke's point, like the fact that you're saying there's so many things that need to be done outside of your control, that is exactly why you condition it. You know, like even with you guys, like I can't promise anything if you don't do the work. You can show up to every call, but then you don't do the action items, or you don't take it serious, or you don't. How on earth can I help you? You know, and so I see you guys a couple hours a month. I'm sure you only see your clients a couple hours a month. So there's a way to put a conditional guarantee out there. But I know it sounds ridiculous. People love guarantees. And what it really is you're coming across with crazy conviction and certainty about what you do. Look, I know what I'm doing. I'm very, very clear on the results that I could get anybody as long as they do, you know, and don't make the list too frightening, but it needs to just be. Go ahead, Hudson.
I think the biggest thing with exactly the conviction and the guarantee, the furnace just kicked on. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that that translates through with that is that, say, for example, you're closing at 50%, right? But you're able to now close because of this guarantee at, say, 80%. So you're getting 7 more clients per month because of that, just as an example. Industry standard says that you'll have 3% of people actually take advantage of that conditional guarantee and get that money back. If you take 3% of that, that's going to be less than the money that you actually earned on top of what you were earning.
Yeah,
so your money ahead by offering that guarantee.
Huge cost benefit analysis to starting to add guarantees into your pitch, as long as they have integrity. And then what it does, and then even the quote unquote, let's say you have one Karen in the bunch that tries to get her money back. There's powerful conversations to be had around her trying to request that. And worst case scenario, to Hudson's point, if you had to reimburse somebody, that's somebody you don't want in your facility anymore anyway. Number one. Number two, like when you realize the amount of more people you brought in the door as a result of that guarantee, you're willing, again, from a cost benefit analysis, to cough up a couple points here and there. But I'm telling you right now, it's almost non-existent. It's almost non-existent because they can never deny that you're providing this crazy amount of work.
Yep.
You know, and it just pushes some people over the fence around, like, it says this, holy shit, this guy believes in himself that much. This must be good. This is worth checking out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it. I'll start. I mean, I probably already used the verbiage of, like, I can guarantee you if you follow X, Y, and Z, we're going to get you what you want. Like, and I'll tie it back to solving their problem. I just never have, like, literally put it on paper. We have a money back guarantee.
Yeah, maybe you don't use the word money back. It could be results guaranteed. Like, if you're specific enough with what you want and you do the work that I prescribe specific for what you're asking me for, I guarantee 120% you hit this target. This is what we do, man. And like conviction, like this is a no-brainer for me. I just need people that want to do the work. You know what I mean?
John, do you believe that if somebody comes in to you and follows your steps, your workouts, your nutrition plan, your coaching, if you believe if they follow your steps to the T exactly like you ask them, what will they get? And will you guarantee that if they follow your steps to the T?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I
There
can
it is.
customize a plan to their goals.
But you got to say it like that too. Like,
Yeah,
this
no,
is like free. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. So it's a little more difficult for some of my other guys. Like, you know, let's use contractor and landscaper here. So like, Kyle, is this like, are you struggling with how on earth can I provide some sort of guarantee?
No, our guarantee is, I was just gonna get ready to jump off, but we provide a 1-year warranty with all of our work. I put down standing behind our work and to provide quality workmanship for our customers with a 1-year warranty. That's what I put down. Do you guys like that, or should it be something better?
It's very ambiguous and vague. And so like, and if it's very commercial and everyone floats that thing around, like somehow make it real sexy and different.
Mm-hmm.
So as I go through every P, I'm always asking myself, how can I stand out from the white noise and like really hammer home why my promise is better than everyone else's? Because again, it does two things. It makes them like choose you because your promise is strong, right? But then like, holy shit, this guy believes in his work that much. Like he's betting on, you're betting on yourself right in front of them. That's what you're doing. You know what I mean? So I guess what I would say is like, everything you just explained doesn't really mean anything to me because I don't know what it means for you to give me a 1-year warranty. We come out,
Yeah,
we do this. I send my guys out. We drop everything. We put you front line. We make sure you don't lose revenue. Your downtime is next to nothing. Like, why can I promise all this shit? Because it doesn't happen. Because we fucking execute. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, and like your guarantee as is now is kind of like insurance. It's like, hey, you know, we're just gonna insure our work, and we got you for the first year to just let you know that we stand by our work. But if you could phrase your guarantee to help solve or go back to one of the pain or problem points, to give them the solution, right? This is what you'll get. If your guarantee can somehow tie back to the relief or the solving of one of those pain or problem points, would really kind of give them that extra like confidence that like, wow, okay, they're solving a problem of mine, not just giving me insurance that their work is reliable.
Got it.
And sometimes you have to hammer home, to his point, like things that they think about but don't think about. You know what I mean? Like, let's face facts. The number one thing you want is for shit not to go wrong, to be done on time, and to be done well. Good craftsmanship, right? Like,
Mhm.
this is how hard we stand behind our ability to do that. And so, you know, something like that. So to his point, it's not always just rubber stamping the hell out of your work. It's tying back in the fact that you're going to execute on this possibility that you've shown him to such a degree that it's a no-brainer. Let's move forward. You know,
I feel like a lot of, not a lot, but 50% of the customers that we have enjoy working with the owner of the company. I get that a lot. Like, you know, I'm always talking to Billy over here or Joey over here. Like, I never deal directly with an owner, you know, so I know that I come to you and I know that stuff gets done. You know, you don't have to ask anybody if you know, you can take $5,000 off of this bid or add $5,000 to this bid. I know that I get the problem solved when I come to you. I get that a lot.
yeah. So maybe start to use some verbiage around like, we're large enough to execute, but small enough to care.
Mhm.
Like, as an owner, I'm personally going to oversee that this gets done, because I
Mhm.
personally can't stand having to deal with all these second and third in commands that don't have the authority or the communication skills or what have you. And so here's one thing we pride ourselves on. We're large enough to get it done, but small enough to care.
Got
I
it.
will personally, as the owner of this company, make sure this thing is buttoned up, or whatever, final walkthrough or whatever. Right?
Sure. Sure.
Ed,
John,
you do
this
the same
one
thing.
John, this one may hit a little bit more with you, man. I've tried about 3 different guarantees over the past probably year and a half, 2 years. One is a money back guarantee. Second one was a money back guarantee plus I'll pay you $100. And the third one was guaranteed results. And if you don't achieve them, I'll continue to work with you for free until that happens. And all 3 have pretty much hit the same. I haven't noticed any difference in the conversion of sales from any of those 3 guarantees. So it just goes back to the point of having a guarantee in place. But also the one I think is a little bit easier for me to solve was just I will continue to work with you for free until it actually happens. That way I don't have to worry about reimbursement. And then I can also at that point in time hold a mirror up in front of them and say, hey, how many Wednesday night calls did you show up to? Did you actually, I can go into your fitness plan. I can see how many workouts that you actually did. And when I start to ask them those questions, I'm not calling them out or anything. I'm just asking them questions about it. They're just like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I didn't show up. I didn't hit all my workouts. It's like, okay. Like, do you want to get to where you're going? And it's time to shut up and start putting up and let's go.
Yeah, it leads, John, it will lead to a powerful conversation before it leads to a refund. It always does.
Always does. Always.
And you get them committed all over again. And then you get them to own the fact that they didn't show up the right way in the first place. And so 90% of people are going to feel some kind of way and not take free coaching until they get it done. They're going to say, you know what, I need to recommit. And it's almost like reclosing them and on their own terms. So all that to say, I promise you, like, even if you had one refund, you'd laugh because of the amount of more closes you'll get, but you won't even have the refund. It's going to lead to a very powerful conversation. You're going to hold them to their power and they're going to recommit. That would be worst case scenario. Or they're going to leave your container because they shouldn't be there. But it is like so negligible how often people are like, aha, I got you. I want my money back. Like, it just doesn't happen, you know? Hopefully you can filter them out before you sign them up. But Ed, is this a weird one for you? Like, guarantee wise? I mean, the greenest lawn in town, or I'll come river dance on it naked, or what's the guarantee?
a river dance on it. No, it's not. I mean, we do, it's a little bit more vague, satisfaction guarantee, but then we also offer warranties and stuff like that. So yeah, we do offer that, but again, it is a little more vague, as you were speaking to earlier.
Yeah, satisfaction guaranteed is so vanilla, and it also leaves a lot of power in their hands, right? It's very subjective. One person might be super satisfied with the same job you did in the house down the street, and the other guy's a nitpicking machine that's like, nah, that's not the right shade of green. That's not thick enough lawn. My pavers aren't, 7 millimeters apart. All of them. Get back to work, so just careful with that. I would love to help you craft that. So if you want to drop some in the chat, maybe we can help you craft because you want your promise to stand out, like, damn, no one else is doing this. This guy stand behind his work. And I feel a little more cozy, a little more warm and fuzzy. I'm gonna transact with him, I really think you need some sort of play on inmate if you're gonna stick with that orange. I think you need like say you hire like nonviolent offenders and give them a chance or something, and then start putting like serial numbers on everyone's back or something. I don't know how comfortable people.
They all just came out last Wednesday.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm telling you. Last chance landscaping or something, like you're giving people.
There you go. I like it.
There's something there. Brandon, are you struggling in this area? I mean, you have there's like standard boilerplate guarantees on products, right?
Yeah, with everything on Amazon, aside from like grocery stuff, you can 30 days you can get a refund, a return. And so I offer like a money back guarantee, like basically same thing. I reiterate it in my copy and my pictures and stuff like that, like guaranteed to, satisfaction, whatever. And yeah, I've been wondering how I can take that a step further, especially after you and Hudson kind of talked about the statistics like that. A lot of my products are gifts. And so something I was thinking about was be named the most creative gift giver at the party, or
I was thinking the same thing. Have fun with it. Like guaranteed to again, earn you the award for best gift and whatever, right? Like, or your money back, because no one's going to take advantage of that. But it's funny, it's attractive, it's sexy, it's different.
If they're not going to take advantage of it, and you make it as no brainer as possible, because at the end of the day, people want to give a good gift. Like that was kind of something that we hammered down in the the possibility. Like that was a really hard one for me for like product stuff. I was trying to think of it at a very high level, but we kind of broke it down, and it's like people really want kind of respect and praise at the end of the day for giving a gift. Like, giving is receiving and all that stuff. So if you can make it a no-brainer and sell that.
I think another thing, if you touch on, since you're touching on the fact that 90% of what you're selling people are giving away, if you made it, and maybe it's common, but like a no questions asked, no gift receipt required, so like somehow where the person who has the object, who received it, if they had a hassle-free way of returning it because maybe they just didn't like it, but they didn't want to offend the gift giver.
That's a good one.
That makes it sexy.
Yeah, I mean, a big pain point. I had this the other day with my girlfriend. She hates actually returning stuff. Like she doesn't even care about getting the money back. She would rather waste the money than like have to go drop the thing off at UPS, because like that's that extra step she hates.
Dude, check this out. Go ahead. I already have something to go.
No, that's most of it. Just, like no hassle back. Don't even have to
send a return box with your effing thing. See what happens. Like what if I was giving someone a gift and I have no clue if they like it, right? And just because I'm really weird about whether or not they like my gift, I'm like, you know what? If you don't like it, put it in this box and leave it on your front door or whatever the protocol is. But it's like if you already did one of the major steps for them to return the gift and made it like that much more hassle-free, what you're really saying is, I'm going to make it like where they can get the gift, go like this, drop it in the box, and return it in a matter of seconds. Because that's how much I know they're going to love what you bought them or whatever. Is that logistically not possible?
No, Amazon basically already does that. Depending on what you have to go in and select the return reason, but they already make it like that, where you.
No, but you select it, then they send you an empty receptacle. I'm saying, what if you shipped your thing with like a. You know what I mean? Like a send it back kit. You know what I mean? Like love it or return it.
It's so easy to send it back that's pretty much what you do. Like
Okay.
It's already like that. You don't.
Is there any way you could link it to the postal service or the FedEx or the UPS that it automatically notifies them that there's a box that they need to pick up on your porch? No. I don't know the systems like that.
No, Amazon takes it over. There's
I mean,
no-
realistically, then that's part of your pitch is you're just leaning on what they've already done. You're like, look, clearly you're buying this from Amazon. It's got the easiest return policy ever. So if they don't absolutely love the gift, guaranteed to turn heads, guaranteed to whatever, you know what I mean? I'll handle the return process for you. Send me the message, text me return or something. I don't know.
Yeah, would it be too far to be like no return necessary? Just ask for a refund and you'll get one? Because that's kind of how Amazon right now. Like there's a lot of people that will request a refund and go through it all, and then they'll get too busy and not actually return it, or it's too whatever.
Yeah,
And
they still get the refund. Yeah.
Return it, but if you were offered a refund without ever having to touch it and you just get the money back, that would make it easier. But I don't know.
Yeah, you just have to closely monitor if there's some jackoffs out there, like, you know what I mean, grabbing items from you and hitting the return, pay me button and not ever returning the goods. I don't know what that does for your bottom line.
And a lot of times people don't take the returns back because there are a lot of times it costs more to have it shipped back than it does for the product.
Yeah, we had to have this happen recently. My wife ordered perfume and it wasn't the perfume, it was the toilet version, the difference between the oil and the water. And they literally said, here's your money back and just keep it because we're not allowed to return liquids or receive something, like, because it's a liquid, right? They're like, we don't know what you put in that bottle, lady. So like she basically got a free bottle of not what she wanted, but and so we still feel some kind of way because I'm like, I don't want to, and this is an $80 bottle of whatever, like do something with it, So anyway, I get that. I get that too. Yeah. So I guess, it'd be something to whiteboard. How can you make the either return process or like some no hassle, you're up against Amazon because you're using Amazon, so you're not against them. Maybe you just again lean on what they're doing, but is there a way to make it more sexy, attractive, or fun even,
Well, I think that's the answer, is not saying no refund necessary or no return necessary. The question is that feasible? Like, are the statistics, do they make it worth it? Would I get that many more sales to make it worth losing that money that I would otherwise?
So my short answer is absolutely it will, because most people don't have the heart to do that and don't have the. I think if you went that far with it, you may have to create a 1 or 2 step process that's not physically going to the mailbox and mailing, but maybe they have to go through a series of questions. If you create a little bit of friction in that, they're still going to bite. Maybe you don't explain the friction necessary to get the money back. You see what I'm saying? But you really explain on the front end how you don't have no return necessary. And then when they get to that part, they're like, fuck it. I'll keep it.
That's smart. Yeah. You make it seem like it's absolutely no friction. And then you introduce just a little bit of friction.
And the friction's still way less than going to this thing and mailing it. You still made it easy and you're honoring your word. You just don't want to make it where they can snap their fingers and destroy your bottom line. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, exactly. No, I like that. That seems like you're catering to both sides.
Yeah, I think that's feasible. I think it's fair. So
I like it.
Anybody else agree or disagree with that? I think we've all been there. You're like, oh, just scratch this off and get this, and you do it, and then you realize there's 7 more steps. You're like, oh, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the best way to do it is just to give it a try. Run it for 30 days, see what happens, and check your bottom line. Check your sales.
I'll report back.
Yeah, I'd love to see how that works. So we won't get into pitch, but if you guys need help crafting your pitch, this is a really big one for me. Any business or anything I've ever done, Lucy can attest to this. We have this thing called your money line, which is your actual hard. At the end, you have to ask for money. The only thing I'll tell you in this, caveat wise, we probably don't have time to dig too deep, is this: figure out your pitch, deliver it to yourself in the mirror, deliver it with such conviction and authority. And here's the thing: don't say a word. Once you drop the money line, and a lot of you guys are transacting online, so it's different. Anybody transacting in person or over the phone, once you ask somebody for money, here's the rule: whoever talks next loses. So even though you asked for it and there's a moment of silence that's awkward, it's equally, if not more awkward for them, because you just hit the ball over to their side of the court. They're expected to respond. Weak salesmen, or that don't believe in their product or don't believe in their ability to pitch, will start to drop their pants before Miss Jones has even said yes or no. Right? So a momentary pause while they think about life, or even a change in body language or tonality, will typically cause the person that did the pitch to then backpedal or say, well, here's what else we can do, or I could drop it a little bit, or I could accommodate this. I promise you, the pressure is way, way thicker on their side of the court because you just hit the ball over with the pitch. So let them fire back that tennis ball before you jump over the net and grab the ball and give them a smaller one. You know what I mean?
No,
you,
no doubt on that. I had the longest awkward silence of my life. I was on the phone call with one of my other coaches and then a lead, and we were texting back and forth during the silence. And it was legit 3.5 minutes of silence. It was the most awkward time of my entire life. It felt like an eternity. But at the end of the day, the guy signed up for 92.95.
Bro, and I'm telling you guys, and Lucy can attest to this. When I used to do sales training, I would get to this part, I would throw my money line out, and I would not say anything for 60 seconds. And most of my guys are on the phone, which is easy because you can put them on mute speaker, you can goof off. Like, but when I sold personal training for LA Fitness for years, you're this close to somebody. Like John S would be right here saying, "Hey, you want to sign up or not?" You know, you can't say a word, and you better have your body language right here. I mean, like in 60 seconds of silence with another human being right here is weird. You know. So anyway, I would encourage you guys to practice. Once the money line is dropped, the actual pitch where you request funds from another human being, whoever talks next loses the game.
Can you
and they might not hit back a straight yes. They might say, well, can I push it off? Is there anything cheaper? I don't know if I can afford that. Let them give you a rebuttal before you start dancing. You know what I mean?
Can you give like an example of that, of like how you would end the conversation, or like how it would be and where you would cut that off? I'm just
Well,
curious.
no. So like anytime as soon as your pitch is, as soon as you ask for money. So if you guys are talking to me, I'm like, hey, so we've talked about this. I've talked to you guys for this long. This is what it looks like to work for me. It's going to be $36,000. Is it getting weird? And then what would happen? Some people might say, whoa, that's insane. I can't afford that. Cool. What is it about it that you can't afford? What if I could break it up for you monthly and it's $3,000 a month? Right. And then I still don't say anything because that's another tennis ball back across the court, pickleball, if you want to play that game. And then I let them object to that. And then they come back and they hit it back and say, well, I'm not sure I could even swing $3,000 right now. That represents 30% of my take home income or 50%. And then I would say, cool. What if I could show you a way to increase your revenue and then eventually your profit by at least $3,000 so that the program is a net zero cost? Does that sound fair? What if you could get all of my services for $0 because the day you met me, you learned how to make an extra $3,000? And then I shut up again, right? And then round and round we go. But you have to play this ping pong game because it's called diarrhea of the mouth. A weak salesman will just keep dancing, and they might have said yes to the 36, but you didn't know because you didn't let them say anything. You know what I mean? But it's difficult because it's awkward. So that's like money line is just, as soon as you mention a dollar bill, you don't say a word. You just hold firm to it, you know? But crafting your money line, it was so ours in debt collection, it was this. So the total is going to be $1,964, where we put that on a Visa or MasterCard today. So it's an assumptive 2-option close, which forces them to pick Visa or MasterCard. It's never a binary yes or no. You never ask yes or no questions. You know what I mean? And then you see what they come back with. And then I have a rebuttal for every single, I own rebuttalrolodex.com. So like, if you want to go, if anyone just wants to have a sales conversation with me for hours, this is all I did for like 10, 12 years. I broke every record at Sprint and LA Fitness for sales. So then they use me to teach people how to run their mouths. So if you want to have a sales conversation, like I will write your whole sales script and I will give you 6 or 7 rebuttals for everything that Ms. Jones can say to you. And then you master those or teach your team to master those and it's game over. 80% closers or they go home. That's the game. I don't care what you're selling. I got out of this world because it could get gray, you know? But I've found ways over the years to do it with absolute integrity. So anyway, that's a story for another day. But if anyone's interested in that, or they want to just go back and forth, or if you want to send me your sales script and say, can you go through this and make corrections if you have one, let me know. So that is P6. I will drop the recording. Obviously, Lucy will drop shortly, and then I will drop this little, it's like an 8-page, presentation. I'll drop this in the post as well, just so you have it. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, I know we went, a little long today, but I appreciate those that stuck around. The rest of you guys fuck off, especially Drew's pilot recording this. Otter, fuck off. It's PHUCK. But you guys have anything for me?
All good.
Play with this. Play with it. Play with it. Play with it. Ed, take it back to your team and play with it. So you're very clear on it. All right. I love you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Later. I don't know how to end this. Let me hit buttons here. And boom.